Mark, come in here. What
What
are you reading?
just happened?
Oh, I don't know, but we're going to talk about it right after this. Before we get started, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the comment, and leave us hit the notification bell. Leave us a comment so we know how we're doing. Um, when you said what just happened, I thought maybe you were reading Martian Manhunter again. Uh,
No, no one knows the answer, Paul. No one.
um, well, we got 2 for 1 again this week. We got a double helping, Absolute Superman issue number 6, and Absolute Green Lantern, the first issue of that, the brand new issue. Al Ewing comes to DC. So we're going to talk about both. We're going to start, however, with Absolute Superman. Um, who you summed it up in like 15 seconds before we came on, but we'll talk a little bit
You
more
want me to
than
stretch it out a little bit this time?
yeah, yeah, exactly. But you pretty much covered
Absolute
the entire thing.
Superman issue number 6 is here to usher in our second story arc for this brand new Absolute title, alongside the brand new Green Lantern number 1. But in Absolute Superman number 6, we'll be taking off on a new adventure while still carrying a lot of the plot threads from the last one. So we're going to be telling the kind of a dualistic story. We know that we're running back to Smallville for the first time and finally getting to see some of that. But we're not going to do it without looking at whatever happened to Kal-El last time we saw him leaving Krypton. To catch you up, the planet exploded. The big ship with all the Kryptonians gets hit by an exploding chunk of the planet, and it shatters. People go everywhere. Parts of the ship go everywhere, but this new technology, this Kryptonian tech, was able to wrap up the individual people and form individual ships. So now Kal is alone, jettisoned into space, and he's on that faithful journey to Earth. That's where this takes a crazy turn.
Yeah.
So many times, Paul, the story's been told, and this kid's peacefully asleep. He's in cryostasis. He's talking to the computer, playing little baby games, or his dog is keeping him company. Not this time. This was
Right.
torture.
And I thought it was very interesting. You started one of the first things you said is whatever happened to Kal-El, which I thought was kind of a nice play on words with.
Whatever happened to the man of tomorrow?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we basically what we see is him basically flying through space, and he's month, day after week after month is passing by. They're in search of a planet that he can live on, that is livable, and they keep passing planet after planet after planet after solar system after universe that nothing is there, and so finally,
Yeah, he's
Kal-El,
going crazy.
yeah,
Like, it's literally torture. He's in this small capsule, eating, drinking, using the bathroom, but there's just in the small capsule for 17 months and 14 days. This kid's broken. He snaps. He gives up hope. He's done. He just wants to be let out. Just put me into space and forget about me. And it's about that time they start getting close to a yellow sun.
Exactly. Just as he's pleading to basically be ejected and just end it all, finally Saul detects a yellow sun and a planet that he can habitate. So they crash land, as we know, he crash lands in Kansas on the Kent farm.
Yeah, where they're fighting for their lives against the evil
Exactly.
Lazarus Corporation, talking about the weather manipulation, the drones, every conspiracy theory that I dive into heavily, I can confirm Martha Kent is also into. Let's
Exactly.
go.
You are all over that. I thought you
I'm
were
like,
gonna
yo, she's speaking my language.
exactly.
And
um,
much like me, she's right about every single one of them.
Yeah, and so the thing is, the Lazarus Group is trying to buy their farm. They're not selling, so what they're doing is they're using these drones to prevent rain from falling, so that their crops won't grow, so that they'll have to sell because they can't sell any crops. Is basically what is happening.
Yeah,
Um,
where like that would ever really happen.
yeah, exactly. No one would ever do that.
No one would ever do
And in
that.
the middle of while they're doing that, and Jonathan and Martha have a nice moment about how they basically committed to each other that they would be with each other until the end.
Let me
Comes crashing to Earth is
first of all,
Kal-El's. Yeah,
look at that
that's the
strapping couple and beautiful artwork. I mean, my
mhm,
goodness.
yeah. Um,
That's a good looking 70-year-old. No, no, no.
and
Chisel.
that exactly that is Kal-El crashing to the planet. And as soon as it happens, basically they're amazed because one, the ship seems to kind of be absorbed into Kal-El, which we know Saul is the ship and the costume that he wears.
Yeah,
Or
it's
the
this complete Kryptonian tech
right,
made of it.
right. But he ends up being unconscious. Um, he basically says that he needs to shut down. Saul says that he needs to shut down to help restore himself.
To
Kind of
recharge, a lot of
recharge.
energy
Right,
protecting you from that crash.
right. So we have Martha and Jonathan find Kal-El. They bring him inside. They put him in a bed. Weeks go by, days, weeks go by. He runs a temperature of 186, 150 degree temperature, which is obviously well outside the range of what any human could stand.
Yeah, his
Um,
entire body, his system is processing all this yellow sunlight and adjusting to it. And in the midst of his like fever, delirium, he's having like moments of floating in bed. He's having moments
right,
of shooting his eye lasers out, and they're debating on what to do. Call the law, get through this. And Martha holds strong and talks Jonathan into waiting it out. And eventually he wakes up all better.
right. The definite Smallville moments, right? Floating
Yeah.
over the bed, not realizing that he's floating over the bed. He can't control the I beams. Um, but he does eventually wake up, and he kind of blows up the
Side of
room
the
that he's
house.
in, side of the house, right? But Saul is still charging, so he doesn't have he's not able to understand what the elderly couple that found him is saying and everything. But they do kind of manage to somehow communicate, and it's funny because we see in the next panel a double page, 4 panels, one on top of another, where we see Cal basically just walking through Kansas and basically saying that this is the kind if I needed to leave, this is the kind of planet I'd want to go to, and it already seems like he's home.
It's a foreign boy from Krypton. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then 2 weeks go by, and you kind of see how he's settled into the farm. Just even though the lack of communication, they figure out how to communicate, and he's helping Jonathan with the traditional stuff you're used to seeing, lifting the tractor with one hand and helping him repair it, despite them not understanding how he understands these mechanics and stuff. And then, unfortunately,
Oh,
things go from bad to worse.
before we go there, interesting that the person who was fixing the tractor is Martha, much
Yeah,
like his mother was the person who was actually building the rocket
on
and fixing
Krypton.
the
Yeah,
rocket on
and
Krypton.
she was also the first time where you're introduced to her. She's fixing a farming equipment for her neighbor in issue
Right,
one. Yeah,
right, exactly.
very dualistic. But
Yep.
while he's down there tinkering with the tractor, Saul wakes back up. So his suit turns on, it activates, starts the translator. He pretty much learns her language in a split second. And he goes and talks to him for the first time, introduces himself, the nice to meet yous, and they're like all super happy. And that's when Saul detects, just naturally, just doing what it does, detects the presence of the drones that are out of sight, and he drops them all like bad habit. Just drones just fall from the sky onto the farm, and immediately lightning strikes, and it's raining, and they get a good rain, and everything's starting to look really hopeful for them until
Till
it's
those
not.
till those darn peacemakers show up.
They need a better name because the Peacemaker
They're
his
not
name
making
is
much
not
sense.
accurate. Yeah,
Exactly.
they show up. They clearly got information and intel on this foreign person who's here, and they go grabbing Kal-El, slamming up against the wall, and he doesn't take kindly to that. He's just a little farm boy from Kansas, so he just starts throwing them off, knocking their stuff over, yelling at him, and then Martha and Jonathan scream at him, "Stop! Don't fight! Don't fight!
Mhm.
Whether you can win or lose, it's not the way."
Right.
So
So he
he just
doesn't fight,
yells,
but he
realizes this
takes
ain't the
off.
place for him, and he just takes off, explodes into the sky, clouds part with him moving so fast through them, just a streak of red Kryptonian dust.
hmm Flash to Smallville now. We find we saw this in a very early. I think it was actually at the very end of the first issue. I think
What,
wasn't it? Where we saw
the nursing
Martha
home?
can't get the nursing home. Was that issue
I feel
4?
like issue 3 or 4.
Before,
Yeah,
okay.
the Stinger in one
Um,
of those latter issues.
okay.
Yeah,
Um, where we see the nursing home where Martha Kent is, we see a person walk in, talking, saying this person needed to speak with Martha Kent. Turns out to be Lois Lane.
yeah.
Um,
It's very interesting because they say, yeah, she's in our memory ward.
mm,
Lovely woman, sad story though. And Lois asked, "Are we talking Alzheimer's?" And he said, "I'm sorry. Who are you again? Are you a relative?" And she says, "No, but you might say I'm a friend of the family." So I'm wondering if it is Alzheimer's or if it's something else.
mm. Don't know. Don't know. We'll find out though.
Hopefully.
Flash to the Lazarus Research Center in the Nevada desert. We see Brainiac talking to someone that's kind of off camera or off panel, talking about how everything's going. We find out that in the end, the person who has been pulling all of the strings, basically, is none other. Who else would be running the Lazarus Project but Ra's al Ghul? Which I want to say we called it, which we did way back at the beginning, but it wasn't a huge leap to guess that the Lazarus Project would have been.
For a second there, I don't know why, but for a split second, I'm like, are they going to do a twist and let it be Vandal Savage? I legit thought we might get a twist. This is going to be interesting. We're switching villains here. Ra's al Ghul is getting Superman. So I'm interested to see this take on Ra's al Ghul more than the fact that he's in the Superman book versus the Batman book. You know, like they can do something really interesting. The dude's ripped like Rambo. He's jacked. Like he's been into this Lazarus pit, which they confirmed in this. Like they have these pits that take a piece of your soul,
and Martha mentions that earlier in the issue about how there's
her conspiracy
theory is that they have these pits that people go into, and the person who's running Lazarus he's over 100 years old, and
these pits they make you young again, but you leave a piece of your soul in there. And exactly. Here he is.
When I first saw Ra's al Ghul on the last page, my first thought was, is that Wonder Woman's tattoo?
It looks like it, doesn't it? He's got some sick arm art.
Yeah, but it's not. I don't think so.
And I like how he's surrounded by robots that he put robes on. They're robots.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. So another great start. We'll find out where this goes now. This is kind of actually I guess this is the epilogue actually of the last. So we should start a new storyline in the next issue. This was not Rafa Sandoval. This was Carmine Di Giandomenico.
And he absolutely great art again. Crushed it. Bar none. The best interiors on any Absolute title for me.
Mm-hmm. Then we also had the first Al Ewing's comes to DC Comics, Absolute Green Lantern #1. This was just fast forward from start to finish.
Wowzers.
We start off with Hal Jordan basically just kind of walking along the highway.
Yeah, talking or hearing voices and stuff, which I'm like, Martian Manhunter?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not. It's just hearing a voice. You are in the absence of light. I am the secret heart within every star. Definitely Easter eggs in that sentence. Be without fear, Hal Jordan. You must be without fear. And it's this, and it's a circle, like the ring. So I'm thinking, what is this? I see circle, I think ring, so it's interesting, and he looks scared to death. He's not okay with whatever's going on with him, and without fear, and he's walking down the side of a desert road. A police officer walks by, stops him just to check on him, and he's so stricken by this fear that he's clearly not without. The officer's like, "You okay? What's going on? Hey man, talk to me, say something. Hey, what's in your pocket?" Because he's keeping his left hand in his pocket, and he's not answering, not responding to the officer. The officer tries more and more, and then what does he say to him? He never says a word to him until he just tells him don't. He's like, "Is it drugs? Is it a weapon? What is it?" And he kind of puts his hand up and he keeps the other one in his pocket, and the officer draws down on him, and he never takes his hand out of his pocket till the last second, where you see like just his wrist and a little black dot, and next thing you know, it's all blacks out. And then when he opens his eyes again, the cop is nothing but a crater in the ground.
Right. With his
looking at this again, Paul, it's so very obvious now. Very interesting. You are in the absence of light. So then we get the crazy cool title page. Like this was a great page here, and the little one-page splash of him turning the cop into the crater. Then this beautiful page splash. I'm loving these full page splash. Like you said, it's very cinematic.
It is. It's very cinematic, where they do this little kind of opening thing, whatever, and then you get a big splash of the title, whatever, and then it goes back into the story. So, that's the international symbol for big splash.
Big splash. That's it. But then we cut over to May and Mo's cafe, where just the normal happenstances are going on of people in a diner. where in walks Hal. Everyone kind of looks at him. Something we could do for you, hon? He just asks for water. He sits down, and people start watching the news on the TV because a little alert comes in, notification. This footage has not been edited, and we see what we saw from those preview pages of a giant Green Lantern symbol that has crashed down slap dab in the middle of the city.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know any information. They're checking for death tolls, and while reporting on it, a letter gets slipped to the news anchor, pretty much saying, "Shut up and get off air." And that's what they do. I'm sorry, we can't report on this any further, and they just go off air. And from there, everyone in the bar starts like, "What's happening? What's going on?" Blah blah blah. And Hal's kind of losing his marbles, looking down at the table where he sees like a watermark left on the table, which is that the shape of that ring we saw earlier. And from there, we cut to 5 days ago.
Right. And we see three people sitting in a bar. It is Hal, it is John Stewart, it is Joe. So the three of them are obviously know each other. We also get some backstory on some of them too. We find out that John Stewart is a contractor doing construction for a hospital extension. We find out that
architect.
Right, exactly, architect.
Kinda.
Right. We find out that Joe was recently moved, but that she also, it seems as though she was on the police force and she quit. And then we hear about Guy Gardner, who apparently
she's a great detective.
is on the police force, right? Is still on the police force, or did they know each other and it was just
and Hal is a dirty flipper,
right? Exactly.
Collectibles,
right? Yeah, because he's basically watching this, eBay type. He's waiting for the very end of the sale, and they're talking, and as they talk, basically this green dome comes and slams itself down on top of where they are.
Yeah, they first notice it by the sound of a motorcycle outside screeching. And they look out and they see this guy on a motorcycle just splatter against this wall that has materialized. So they go running out. I mean, he splatters proper.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing left of him. They look out, they go running out there, and they realize that on the other side of this green wall is his dead splatter dude with nothing left except for like his wedding ring or whatever it was. There's a lot of ring symbolism in this book for some reason.
I have to wonder why.
No, I can't figure it out. But the other bikers turn around and ride off. They're trying to figure out what's happening, and they can't get any reception. And that's about the time Joe looks up and she says, "Look up," which is a popular phrase this summer.
Exactly.
And when they look up, there's the shape of a Green Lantern symbol in the sky, and this naked creature who looks like something out of Dragon Ball Z is standing there, and it's Abin Sur.
Yeah, it almost kind of looks like could be like the Martian Manhunter, almost.
Yeah, like he's really embedded in our minds after reading that.
Exactly. Abin Sur has 4 arms, a huge tail coming out of the back of his head and everything. Tailhead, yeah.
And he's flat in front like Ken. Right.
And then that's where that flashback ends, and we come back to Hal now, and Hal is in the diner again. He basically is talking to some people. The people basically ask him what's going on. They talk about Abin Sur, and
he's been telling this story of 5 days ago.
Right.
And when we flash back, he's saying that this Abin Sur, he gave me a weapon. And now here comes that "what's in your pocket? Why is your hand in your pocket?" situation all over again. And we see how that ended.
Right. And this time it's with people in the diner. And they start screaming at each other, "Give me that, give me that." Finally, one of the people manages to take Hal's hand out of his pocket.
Major plot twist. It's not a ring like we were all going to suspect.
Right.
He's the freaking Black Hand.
Yep. Yeah.
He's not Parallax. He's not Green Lantern. His hand is in the absence of light, and his hand naturally goes on the defense without him doing anything. It reacts to the environment, and it yokes up that dude, and there's nothing left of him but like a necklace.
Right.
Much
like the sheriff or whatever, the cop.
Not too good. The little diner waitress, she takes a shot at him, shoots him in the arm, and as soon as she shoots him in the arm, just the very next panel, he was screaming "Don't!" It's responding to, and it just blows out the whole diner. boom, you see the little black tentacles coming out of it, shakes up the whole place. And he's sitting there with the "What have I done?" He looks at the bullet wound. The black tentacles heal it.
Hmm.
And then about that time, he's looking at his hand, and you see a green light glowing in from behind him.
Hmm.
And in comes "What happened to you?" says Jo Mullein, who's glowing green, clearly rocking the ring. She had a better,
And has a little tiny lantern in the, and it's just kind of almost kind of like Ethan Van Sciver used to do, where it was kind of like it was kind of raised, such a kind
yeah,
of,
where like floats out from like a
yeah,
badge. Yeah.
yeah.
So she clearly had a better interaction, a better experience, a better day meeting Abin Sur than old Hal did.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Um,
Because
but man,
everything is not okay with Hal.
right, what a great start.
It was wild.
It was
Hey,
wild.
question for you. As a diehard Green Lantern fan, as like a very knowledgeable Green Lantern fan, how do you feel about the idea of Hal being used as a bad guy? Like obviously the Parallax thing was something to behold, but then like in the most recent Green Lantern animated film, they just used Hal as a one-off villain, and now with this, they're introducing Hal not necessarily with villain motivations, but as a protagonist entity at least.
Yeah, well, I wonder if he's the protagonist. I'm okay. I'm hoping that Joe will somehow be able to cure him or rid him of the Black Hand part, and maybe what'll happen is they'll start sharing, the thing. But
Do you think
again,
he's going to have to atone for all these dead bodies?
yeah, he might. You never know.
They really held it against Wally West for a long time, didn't they?
They
And
really
he
did.
didn't even do that.
Right. Um, yeah, two great issues. The one thing I meant to say, talk about with Absolute Superman, you said this was kind of the best art, but the other thing that I really liked about Absolute Superman, this particular issue, is to me it kind of embodies exactly what the Absolute Universe is. It it's the appearance of hope that gets taken away, right? There's he doesn't have any hope at the beginning. He finds hope. He lands on a planet. He gets basically, he Saul goes away. He has hope now with these two parents. That gets taken away. So there's like it really is it. It exemplifies exactly what I think they're trying to do with the Absolute Universe.
Yeah, the universe how it's supposed to be the flip, and
Right.
this is perfect. Yeah, because it's supposed to be showcasing overcoming fear, and this guy is living in it. Like every panel, he has like a tear coming from his eye. They're wide open, where he's just terrified.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, again, I think they're 6 for 6, starting the absolute issues. So um, um, they've been selling like gangbusters. So all 6 of them so far sold over 100,000 for their first issues. So yay for them. But we're gonna keep going. And now we should be on a regular cadence. Where next week we have Absolute Batman again. We get Mr. Freeze, and we're supposed to get more of a look at Absolute Joker as well. So that should be pretty
Mr.
good as
Freeze
well.
looks like Count Orlok.
He does. He does really. Yeah. Um,
It's cool.
yeah.
It was really cool.
Don't forget to leave us though. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought about Absolute Green Lantern and issue number 6 of Absolute Superman. Don't forget to subscribe while you're here. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, and don't forget to hit the like button. That little thumbs up right there, just below us. So, but that's going to be it for this edition of DC Comics Deep Dive. I am Paul. He is Mark,
But we're Legion.
and you're now leaving Sector 28